Hello all, this is Damini. I welcome you to the 17th episode of our web series Loanflix Season 2. For those of you who are new to this channel, let me tell you, Loanflix is a web series which covers each and every detail of an abroad education loan, right from the eligibility, the process, the disbursement, repayment, each and everything. And Loanflix is an initiative of BMake Scholars. BMake Scholars is an organization which is funded and supported by the Ministry of IT, Government of India under their Digital India initiative. And its sole purpose is to help students like you get an abroad education loan. And all the services of BMake Scholars are completely free of charge. So today's episode is a very interesting one because it is all about saving money. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all the things you need to know to save money on your education loan after it is sanctioned. So generally people think that getting a lower interest rate and lower processing fee on your education loan is all you need to do to ensure a long-term saving. But that is just the pre-phase. Yes, of course, that's a significant portion, but there are a lot of elements which comes into picture after the loan is sanctioned. For example, TCS, which is tax collection at source on foreign remittance, which you can claim back. The tax exemption on education loans under Section 80E. The education loan transfer or takeover to a lower interest rate, or the repayment planning. So in this video I'm going to talk about all these things which can help you save money on your education loan after it is sanctioned. So even though I have made independent videos on each of these topics, but today's video is going to be more concise with updated information. So let's start this episode. But before that, if you appreciate the effort we put in to bring this information out to you, then please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to get regular updates. So this is a new tax policy which was introduced in the financial year 2021 but was being implemented only from 1st October 2020. So this policy says that whoever is sending more than 7 lakhs abroad in a financial year, they have to pay an extra tax. So for education related expenses, this tax percentage was kept at 5%. But if your education expenses are coming through a financial institution, that is through a bank or NBFC, then the tax percentage was only 0.5%. Yeah. So for example, if you're sending 20 lakhs abroad in a year, the first 7 lakhs will be free of any tax. Yeah. On the remaining 13 lakhs, you will have to pay a tax, which will be 5% if you're self-funding, which is 5% of 13 lakhs, 65,000. But if you're funding your education through an education loan, it will be 0.5% of 13 lakhs, which is 6,500 only. So it clearly shows that taking an education loan is useful. So as today's video is about money saving, let's come to the point. So what you need to know is that the whole amount of TCS can be adjusted in the annual tax liability of your father or mother if they are the co-applicant in your education loan, or if they are the one who is sending money abroad to you. So this means that the whole amount of TCS can be claimed back. So if for the above example, let's say you are self-funding and your father is sending the money abroad to you, and so in addition to the 13 lakhs which he wanted to send you, he has also paid 65,000 as TCS. So now let's assume that your father pays 1 lakh rupees as income tax every year on his income. So this year he needs to pay only 35,000 because the 65,000 of TCS can be adjusted in this tax. So I hope you're clear on this. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to each one of you. Or alternatively, you can watch my full 15 minutes video on tax collection at source on foreign remittance, which is linked above. I have made multiple videos on Section 80E. So let me explain you what exactly this Section 80E means. So Section 80E says that the entire interest component of your EMI which you are paying towards the repayment of your education loan can be claimed back as a deduction in your income tax. So which means that the entire interest component, the whole interest which you're paying towards your education loan, is actually tax free. So let me explain this with an example. So for example, let's say your father's taxable income is 12 lakhs per annum. So he is in 30% tax bracket and he pays somewhere close to 1.8 lakhs taxes every year. Now let's say you take a loan of 40 lakhs for your masters of 2 years, and you at an interest of about 10% with your father as a co-applicant. Now you would be paying about 4 lakhs in interest every year on this loan, right? 10% of 40 lakhs, so roughly around 4 lakhs. Yeah, it will reduce over time, but that will be the approximate figure. So now what this section says is that this 4 lakhs is tax free, which means out of your father's taxable income of 12 lakhs, this 4 lakhs can be reduced and his new taxable income will be only 8 lakh rupees. So the tax on 8 lakhs is only 80,000 rupees, which means your father brought down his taxes from 1,80,000 to 80,000. So this is a clear saving of 1 lakh rupees every year. So this is the saving you have to look at after you have taken an education loan. Yeah. So I understand this calculation of this whole interest and the saving can be a little complex, especially for those who are not good in maths. So that's why we have designed this calculator, which can help you calculate the savings on section 80E based on your income, your father's income, and your parameters. So you can find the link to the calculator in the description below. Yeah. So are you clear on this? If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to each one of you. Or you can also watch my full video on section 80E, which is linked above. Now, this is not something which a lot of people think of when they plan on saving money on their education loan. But you need to know that you can always transfer the outstanding loan amount of your education loan to another lender who is offering you a better interest rate. Yeah. And everyone, I don't know, whenever I tell anyone about this whole topic of transfer, the first question people ask me is that, whatever interest I have paid to my first lender, will I have to pay the whole thing again if I transfer? That's a ridiculous myth. No, you do not have to pay the interest which you have already paid. Okay, so let me explain that with an example. The outstanding amount of a loan is considered as a fresh loan every month. So for example, let's say if I have 40 lakhs outstanding today and I pay 50,000 rupees as EMI. So what happens is, out of this 50,000 rupees, the first portion will go towards the monthly interest of my 40 lakhs. Okay, and the leftover portion will reduce from my principal. So now let's say out of this 50,000, 30,000 went towards my interest, which is gone. Okay, the remaining 20,000 is reduced from my principal. Now at the start of next month, my principal will be only 39,80,000. Okay, so again the interest will be calculated, monthly interest on 39,80,000. So again when I'll pay 50,000, so let's say this time the interest is only 29,000, not 30,000. So 29,000 will go towards interest, which is gone. The remaining 21,000 which is left over will reduce from my principal. So this is how the whole cycle of loan repayment works. So over time my interest portion keeps reducing and the portion towards my principal keep increasing, and this is how my principal reduced to zero. Yeah, so at any point in this whole cycle, if I transfer my loan, the calculation in the new bank will start from that outstanding figure only. It will not start from the start itself. I hope you are understanding that. Yeah, so that's one thing which you need to know, is that again, if I transfer my loan and I get a lower interest rate, of course you're transferring means you're transferring because of the lower interest rate. So your interest portion will be smaller because of the lower interest rate. So more portion will go towards the principal, which means you'll be able to close your loan way faster because of transferring the loan to another lender with lower ROI. I hope it is clear. You can also watch my full-fledged video on education loan transfer for better clarity on this. The video is linked above. So you need to have an understanding of part payment and pre-closure policies of the lender you're taking the loan from, because with this knowledge you will be able to plan an early repayment, which means the lesser interest to the bank, hence more savings, right? So the first thing about part payment, so part payment is something that you pay a bulk amount towards your loan so that you can reduce the principal. So in NBFCs and private banks, they have this lock-in period of 6 months, which means that you cannot do any part payment within 6 months from your first disbursement date. But after that, you're free to do it. But every time you make a part payment, you have to pay some documentation charges of 2,000 to 5,000 rupees, depending on the lender. But in government banks, there is no lock-in period of 6 months, which means you can do the part payment anytime, even the next month. So let's say if you take the disbursement today, next month you want to pay that amount back, you can do it in government banks. Okay. So now the next thing about pre-closure. So pre-closure is also something wherein you close the loan way before your repayment tenure. So it is not like a part payment; it is like paying off the whole loan in one go and clearing off the whole loan before the repayment tenure. So again, NBFCs and private banks have this lock-in period of 6 months, which means you cannot pre-close your loan within 6 months, but government banks do not have this lock-in period. So pre-closure is tough in the initial years because the amount is huge, but a lot of people do part payment in the initial years of their repayment cycle. So for example, a lot of companies around the world offers these joining bonuses, with which students get a big chunk of money in one stretch. So they use this money for the part payment of their loan, which drastically reduces their burden in the later years. So you can also do that, if you get this kind of a bonus. So for more detailed understanding of this repayment planning, you can watch my latest video, which is linked above. So that's it. These were my 4 money saving tips, which is claim your TCS, which is tax collection at source on foreign remittance. Claim your tax exemption under section 80E. You should also transfer your loan to lower ROI if you are getting one during your repayment cycle. And you should also do part payment or pre-close your loan as early as you can. I hope this video was useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to you. And if you appreciate the effort we put in to bring this information out to you, then please subscribe to our channel and click on that bell icon to get regular updates. Please hit the like button and share it with your friends and colleagues because sharing is caring. And finally, you can start your loan process via VMAX Scholars by requesting a callback, which is given on the link above. All the services of VMAX Scholars are completely free, and VMAX Scholars is funded and supported by the Ministry of IT, Government of India. That's it. Stay tuned for my next video. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to never miss any updates from us.